Hello everyone, welcome to the December Pages video. This is the last video working in this journal in 2022. I'm going to be working on this title page first, and I've created this design mostly from my imagination. I have a reference photo of the robin, but aside from that, I'm just creating this one out of my own head. Just putting in the line work here now, using my favourite sepia stapler pigment liner. December's been an interesting month. I've been spending most of it in the studio actually, getting caught up in this journal. It's been very cold and also just a really busy month. It's always a bit like that, do you find, before the holidays, that you've just got a little bit too much to do and not quite enough time to get it done in. It's probably because of that long Christmas break. Once I've put my lines down, I just want to take those pencil lines away, and then I can get on to painting. I'm painting with Derwent Inktense. This is the studio set that I really like to work with. I love painting this orange bib of the robin, always starting with the lighter yellower tones first, and then working my way up to the bright orange. I think that this would make quite a nice Christmas card design too. Maybe I'll use it in future years. In my woodland video I was talking about the birds that seem most festive to us, and I think that the redwing is probably my most festive bird, but I've seen so much of the robin this month, and it just seemed right to really put the robin in amongst all of the holly and the mistletoe and the ivy. I haven't been able to get outside quite as much this month. I've been sticking very close to home. I've been to the beach and the woods and the nature reserve, but never really ventured further than a few miles from my own front door. It's partly because of the cold and partly because of being so busy, and partly just because of that sort of nesting feeling that you have at this time of year, where you just want to cosy in at home. Although that hasn't stopped me from going out and having a few adventures, and some of those are shown later in this video. You can find the interludes in the video via the timestamps in the description below, so if you want to flick around in the video a little bit, that's where you can go to do that. Adding in the red of the berries, and decided to also use the red to put in the title too. I've yet to fill in all the weather and mood information for this page. You can see that. I've listed all of the dates, but just haven't filled the information in yet. And then finally I've just got this little wren to do down in the bottom right hand corner. Speaking of robins, I've been seeing a lot of them out in the reserve this month, and I couldn't resist but make this little musical interlude featuring the robin. I really hope that you enjoy it. I've been sticking close to home, like I said, but I've been down the reserve quite a lot, and one of my favourite photographs that I took was of a singing starling far up at the top of the tree. This indigo coloured spread, really perfect for reflecting the amount of cold that we've had this month. And in the garden, all of the herbs were coated in frost, and that inspired me to make this next spread. I usually film these pages across a few days, so I'm sort of in and out of the studio all the time doing various different things, but try to put the camera on here and there to capture what I'm doing in the journal. And I think next year you're going to see inside my studio a whole lot more, so you can see a bit not just on my desk but also a bit further out into the studio and see what it looks like in there. I might even do you a studio tour. This has been a lot of fun doing this particular page. Again, it was mostly done from memory, it's not so much copying from photographs, this one. There's a picture in my mind of those frosty sage and rosemary leaves. And again, with the ties to Christmas and the theme of what it is at this time of year here in the UK, with the herbs, sage and rosemary and thyme becoming particularly important and the things that we tend to eat at this time of year. It's all part of the celebration. And I think that that ties in to older traditions and the way that we feel in this dark and rather oppressive time of year. I think I really wanted to capture this in these pages. And to create the frost-like effect, I'm using a white Pilot Shoes liner and just going around the edges of everything. And that's my finished page. According to my phone, it's now a balmy 2 degrees. It was -3 this morning, there was frost all over the hills, and the waters have completely frozen. It's quite unusual for December in the UK, it's usually a lot milder and quite wet. There's not a lot of bird life about because there's little access to the water. Get the shell duck just walking along on the ice. Things have been very different this year. We've had the long dry summer, then we had the mild and wet autumn with storms, and now coming into December we've got this freezing cold weather. But at least it gives some good inspiration for those seasonal nature journal pages. Inspired by those scenes of the frozen reserve, I decided to paint a photograph that I took of the frozen pond. It's very interesting to look at the picture of the ice and try and capture some of the myriad different colours of the reflections of the hills in the water. Just building it up layer upon layer and incorporating some of the staining that's in the background of the pages as well. This is how I really love to paint landscape. For this one I did have a few pencil lines to show me where to go, but I'm mostly just painting fairly instinctively directly from my reference photograph. I'm keeping it very freeform and relaxed, and not worrying about putting too much detail in straight away, but building up layers and layers of colour. And then finally over the top adding in some of the details that will make the scene obvious. to the viewer what it is, rather than just splashes of colour on a page. So these trees had to go in here. And also some of the ice markings on the water. Quite nice, quick painting. Hello everyone, it's like 2 degrees and I'm gonna head in for a swim now. Because with conditions like this, who could really want to miss out? Inspired by that magical sunset swim, I decided to also paint that scene of the sun setting over the cliffs at home. And just like the pond picture, just building up layers and layers of colour, minimal detail and minimal pencil lines. Working on slightly wet paper to let the colours blend together, letting it dry a little, and then painting in some details over the top. A sweeping horizon and the blue of the sea. And then putting in some of the reflections too, bringing in some of those colours of the sky into the water. This was really such a wonderful afternoon, and I hadn't been feeling very well that day. I had been feeling a little down and depressed and not really myself. And my mum came round for her piano lesson, and after I'd finished teaching her, she said that her and Dad were taking the dog down to the beach. Perhaps I'd like to come with them, maybe have a swim, because she could tell I wasn't feeling very cheerful. And my mum really knows what I need to cheer myself up. And of course it really worked. There's nothing like the adrenaline of cold water swimming and making you feel connected to the earth once again. If you're a cold water swimmer, you probably understand what I mean. I'd love to hear what you think. Are you someone who loves to get into the sea in winter, or do you prefer not to try? I was so captured by that lovely winter experience that it just had to go into my journal. What do you think of today's pages? Is there a favourite? The next video on this channel, I will have finished this journal and I'll be showing you all the way through. Until then, have a very happy new year and I'll see you in 2023.